I titled this segment, Dealing with Stress. Pride is your enemy. There's no doubt that any leader goes through stress. Some periods have more stress than others. But how do leaders really deal with stress? It's not like you have somebody above you that you can talk to about the stresses you're having. It is a spiritual thing, but at the same time, you are prideful about the stress you're feeling, it can really create almost a spiritual cancer inside you and make you weaker. So where leaders sometimes think that by hiding their stress, it shows strength, in reality, it's creating weakness. And Colonel White talks about the importance of being humble and being honest and about having a healthy expression of this stress. It does not make you weak or make you look weak. In fact, it's the opposite. It makes you look strong, and it keeps you strong, which is the most important thing.
That had some effect on me later in life for PTS. When you're in a regular rifle company, in other words, you're surrounded by about 100 guys. Each platoon's about 30-something times 4. You're give or take about 100, okay? A reconnaissance platoon is also about 30 guys, but you operate by yourself. So they would send us, so now I'm a reconnaissance platoon leader, and so they would put us, I would go on 7-day missions. And so again, all the food you can eat are for 7 days, a lot of ammunition, grenades, claymore mines, all this stuff, machine gun ammunition, water, you're weighted down. I mean, you can't stand up straight. I mean, you're got 100 pounds in your back. And we'd go on these long-range, deep reconnaissance missions. You're trying to find the enemy. The deal is you're not trying to fight the enemy, you're trying to find the enemy so higher forces.
And not be detected, too.
Not
right?
be detected.
Yeah.
So the reason I say that I have PTS with this is because we'd go on these missions, and for days on end, the loudest you could talk would be like this. Damn. So, and you're whispering, hand and arm signals, you're sleep deprived, you're food deprived, you're mentally exhausted, tremendous responsibility leading these men. You're a role model, you got to be tough, lead the example. Days on end, and you come back in for 24 hours, get more equipment and so forth, and go back out. That affected me later in life for loud noises. And so I'm doing this because this is therapy.
Yeah.
I'm giving you therapy right now for myself. And so that affected me in this regard. If you're in reconnaissance and there's a loud noise, if you didn't create the loud noise, that's bad.
Yeah.
A loud noise means somebody
Very
shooting,
startling,
trying to kill
I would
you.
think, yeah.
So loud noise, sudden. If I create the loud noise, well, that's different because I know I'm going to create it. So the way that's affected me in life is if there's a loud noise, even if a loud voice, if I don't know about it, that's a reaction. If it's really bad, I'll actually get nauseous. Because what's happening is our body is designed for fight or flight.
Yep.
There ain't no flight in me. It's all going to be fight. So if I'm startled, my body's going to get a flood
Those
of
chemicals
adrenaline.
Yeah.
I'm going to get a whole bunch of adrenaline because my body is saying it's fight or flight, in my case, fight, and this lasts for about that long. And then, okay, that was a loud noise. I don't have to do something. My body has now received a tremendous surge of adrenaline. And that's where the nausea comes in. I feel like, because my body didn't do anything with that adrenaline. I didn't go do something. So I've learned to deal with that. And so what I'm doing, telling you this right now, this is my medical people I've talked to, this is better to talk about it. And the more I talk about it, the less of those situations happen to me. And I've never done anything stupid or violent. It's just a physical. So that's just, I never got wounded in 2 years in Vietnam, in the jungle, never got wounded. So I tell people, not every wound is visible, so.
When you say that you talk about, I mean, that just reminds me of, I think a lot of leaders, they isolate a lot and they might think things of themselves because they try to be that actor, right, of that can't be weak, can't even let my wife see me be weak, because then
Right,
she'll
right.
think, and you can't really have nobody to talk to. You can't talk to the people in your command, can't talk to, because you don't want to look weak. You have to be a good actor. So how do you, what would you say to, or how did you process those types of feelings of maybe being alone, being isolated, or doubting yourself? I mean, I'm sure on some of those reconnaissance missions, you had a lot of quiet time to pray, ask God, but a lot of doubt would creep in, and maybe
your senses, your senses are so acute in a reconnaissance mission. I was in Vietnam 2 years. You're seeing, you're smelling, you're tasting. I mean, I could feel the enemy. I knew if they were there. I never got surprised, by the way. We were never in that reconnaissance platoon. We found the enemy, and they never found us. Okay, there's a price you pay for that, though. I mean, you're constantly on all the time, 24/7. So
it's a battle of
back to your
attrition in
question,
some respects, right?
back to your question. You don't really have a lot of time to contemplate your feelings. You're on. Later, when you're out of that situation, that's where a lot of combat veterans have issues later. It could be years later. It could be 20 years later, and it kind of comes back. And we find that this happened in, I guess, all wars, but we find that, okay, so I come out of Vietnam, I have a full career in the Army, I'm go, have a wife, children, go, retire from the Army, another job, go. You finally retire, and that's when it starts. Your mind has time to relax, and these kind of things come back, and that's when you really need somebody to talk to. And the reason I tell those stories like that, it's okay, because a lot of guys look at me and said, hey, if White can say it's okay to talk about it, I guess it's okay. It's not a weakness. It's a dealing with what you have to deal with. So I tell anybody, I said, any bad press that the VA ever got, I never saw it. They've always been very good to me, very helpful. I have a buddy that was a Marine sniper in Vietnam, and he has similar issues that I did. And when he found out that it was okay for me to go to the VA and talk about these things, then he went. And so it's not being, quote, a man to keep it all inside. You need to have a battle buddy.
Yeah, I've always felt like, and I've told other leaders and maybe business I've talked to, that those allowing yourself those moments of weakness, you let yourself be weak so that you can stay strong.
Yeah.
You think, well, how does that make sense? It does make sense, right? Because you take a little bit.
It's humility.
Yeah, you have to rest. You can't work out constantly. You have to rebuild and recharge, right?
It's a sign of humility, as far as I'm concerned. When I'm back to the thing about being a leader, being an actor, I mean when you're in the heat of the battle. In the battle, I don't mean just war. I mean the heat of the business meeting, the heat of whatever. A sermon. I mean, that's the heat of the battle. That's when you got to be, because you can't let that contagious, potentially contagious, go out to other people. But you do have to. The actor can't be the actor all the time. The actor's got to go back and relax.